Hey guys, my name's Dr. Robb Kelly over in San Antonio, Texas. As you can tell by my accent, I wasn't born over here. I'm a concierge doctor. I work with high-profile people, like actors and stuff like that. And, you know, my history's horrendous. And all of a sudden he continues drinking. People go, what's wrong with that guy? Uncle Pete said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm scared. And he said, hey, drink this beer, you'll feel better. So I drank this half a beer and the whole fucking world just changed, man. I'm Eddie Van Halen. I says, oh, great to meet you. He went, no, not great to meet me. Why am I recognizing you and you're recognizing me?
Dr. Robb, I feel like, do I have to call you Dr. Robb? I feel like the doctor will see you now. That's what I feel like when it said Dr. Robb. I'm like, dude, when we first connected, the first thing that I connected with you straight away was like, oh my God, like there is an alcohol and addiction sort of history. You're a musician and you help people. And I was like, oh, hang on a minute. This is pretty cool. But then I was like, I read something about that you'd been to Abbey Road, and I've also been to Abbey Road, and I was like, I've got to chat with this guy. Got to chat with this guy. So, dude, give me a little introduction. Tell me like who you are and like what you do for the people who don't already know.
Hey guys, my name's Dr. Robb Kelly over in San Antonio, Texas. As you can tell by my accent, I wasn't born over here. So I'm from Manchester, UK. We deal with alcohol, drugs, PTSD, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's. We have 5 offices around the world. We have Manchester, England. We have Switzerland, Spain. We have Dallas. We have San Antonio. I work. I'm a concierge doctor. I work with high-profile people, like actors and stuff like that. And my staff work with everyday people like me. So we have a sliding scale. 25% of our work is pro bono. And we love what we do, man. You know, we're serious about curing addiction, which we have. We've got a 98% success rate. Not alcoholism, that's different, but addiction. And you know, my history is horrendous, just like everybody else's. And I got through it all, and I've created this empire to help people. So we help the patient, but we also have a family systems program, which is different to most people, where if we take a patient on, it's 7 days a week for 1 hour a day, telehealth, usually, unless you're in one of our office areas. Mm-hmm. But the wife must come on for 2 days a week to deal with her stuff. Yeah. So most women get on, they go, well, it's nothing to do with me, it's his problem. And we go, no, this is not about him. This isn't a treatment center. You're not going to come in and, you know, discuss the husband. You're going to come in and discuss you. You're suffering from PTSD. Well, I've got nothing, you know, well, why does you let your husband come home 2 or 3 times a week, drunk out of his head, beat you up in front of the kids? Why? And then the tears start. So the family system unit became huge to us, because when we involve the family, so let's say it's the guy, we involve the wife and anybody over the age of 18 that lives in the house, the success rate of the alcoholic goes up by 42% alone. So we're off to a great start.
That's amazing, isn't it? That is amazing. I have mentioned this before on this podcast. The UK charity, and I'm probably going to give it the wrong name now, but it's National Association of Children of Alcoholics. And I can never know how do you say that? Is that NACA? No,
NACA.
Yeah.
NACA.
Yeah. And there was the Callum Best, who historically everyone knows because his dad had a liver transplant and then sadly died from liver failure through alcohol abuse and so forth. Yeah. So every time I ever talk to anyone about my dad, who had issues with alcohol and had to have a liver transplant, the first thing they say is, oh, like Callum Best, and like, you know, George Best. Sorry. So, but they had an appeal that they were doing last year on the National Children of Alcoholic Week, and there was a girl on there who sadly had lost her dad on there. And the one thing she said on that interview, she said, I just thought my dad was normal. I thought it was normal. And it's not until obviously it got to the serious stage she realized that isn't normal. So I think involving the families is so important, right?
Yeah, a few reasons: their trauma and education. I mean,
Yeah.
alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. So you can't drink yourself into becoming an alcoholic. It doesn't work like that. It's generational. We've traced it back to fetus level. But drug addiction is the addictive personality. So you can take enough drugs to become a drug addict. So when the alcoholic gets to a certain stage and has the liver transplant and everybody's rooting for him and everything's going to go to
Hmm.
crap if he doesn't do this, and all of a sudden he continues drinking, people go, what's wrong with that guy? What's wrong with
Yeah.
that guy is the hypothalamus in the brain. We're
Yeah.
known of, where we are now for studying the neuroscience behind addiction. And when you get to that stage of alcoholism, the choice whether you drink or not is taken away from you. When the survival part of the brain is telling the prefrontal cortex to drink alcohol to survive, that's why I can go days or weeks when I was homeless without food or water. It's
Yeah.
really interesting, but once it sets off, but it's funny because the behavioral part of it is when you grow up in a family, is you think that's normal.
Mm.
It's like back in the day, the molestation and all that stuff. They normalized that shit. So, I used to get molested by my mom's best friend. They used to drop us off every Friday, go and drink, pick us up Saturday morning. I thought it
Wow.
was normal when we had to run around naked and play the run around naked game. I don't know.
Wow.
So yeah. So the more we find out about addiction, the more we find out that the patient is a very sick person. And
Mm.
then you drag my alcoholism infected everybody that was around me,
Wow.
everybody in a negative way.
Yeah.
My mom and dad died early because of my alcoholism on the streets and dying on the street. I died twice on the street. All this stuff. Mom got cancer. She worried to death every single night. In actual fact, when I got sober, she said to me, she said, "Can I tell you something? And you're not going to get sad." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I prayed to God for about a year for the police to knock on the door and tell us that you died. Just breathe for a second." I mean, it's horrible, man. People don't know. And because
Wow.
alcoholism is, oh, Jimmy round the corner, he drinks a bottle a day, he's an alcoholic. No, not necessarily so.
No.
It's not the amounts we drink. It's not when we drink. It's not the type of alcohol. It's when I drink alcohol, all bets are off. I cannot
Yeah.
have one beer because that one beer sets off the chain reaction, sets off that hypothalamus again, the survival part, and I can't stop. So I'm either
Yeah.
going to end up in insanity ward, I'm going to end up in hospital of some, or I won't wake up, or jail. That's my
Yeah.
three options. I do not have a choice whatsoever.
Yeah. There's an interest. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip with Matthew Perry, and he's on a UK TV show, and they've interviewed him, and this guy basically says, "Oh yeah, but you just don't drink alcohol, mate. It's easy." And Matthew Perry's like, "No, it's not that easy. That's
It's not.
if it was that easy, then they'd stop selling alcohol, right?"
Yeah, we kind of was ready to work with Matthew. We'd turned him down about 9 years ago because he wasn't ready, and again he wasn't ready. So there's nothing we can do if you're not ready. We're very strict on our intake assessment. We have a series of questions and stuff, and if you fail the assessment, like a lot of people do, we will not take you on
Yeah.
because that's big with us. I'm not going to take the money and promise and guarantee your loved ones we're going to get you well, and then you relapse a week after you finish with us. I
Yeah.
can't do that.
No.
We're almost aggressive with it. We're just you're either in or you're out with us. There's no middle areas. It's people dying on a daily fucking basis. And they go into treatment centers with a 2% success rate, and they come out and relapse and die, and nobody goes back to the treatment centers and go, "Hey, what happened?"
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. Bullshit. If it wasn't ready, why did you take all this money to come in your center?
Yeah.
There's no skin in the game for treatment centers. Now, there are some great treatment centers that we work with, but 95%, first thing you do when you call up, if you call up here, they go, "Did you get referred?" Like, "Oh, no." "Okay, where did you find it?" "Google." "Okay, then we're going to put you on an assessment first of all and see how you. Me and you could call any treatment center in America right now, and the first thing they're going to ask you is, "Do you have insurance?" It's
Wow.
disgusting.
Really?
Disgusting. Yeah.
No
Not how
way.
are you? What's going on? Do you have insurance? Let me check your insurance. Yeah. And if your insurance doesn't match or you don't have any, you don't get a call back. I
Because
fought
that's where
against this for ages.
they know they're going to make their money because they'll take you, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, like $4,000 a day, some of them, of the insurance companies. But insurance companies used to cover 90 days in treatment. Now they cover 30 days because you can imagine insurance companies going, why am I paying for Johnny's 22nd time in treatment?
Yeah.
They say just something broken. And that's where we started to get really aggressive with it. Some, I don't know, 12 years ago, when we just said, stop, this is nonsense. We're not buying into this shit anymore. And we
Yeah.
become very strict who we take on. Now, again, 25% of our work is pro bono and we have a sliding scale. So if you're ready and you can't afford the money that some people pay to come here, we have a non-profit, we'll sponsor you. We have all that stuff going on. But at the end of the day, over 25 years and 11,000 patients with a 98% success rate. I used to have put a money back guarantee, but my wife and my legal guy said, don't do that. But I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You need to change the brain. You need to change the brain structure, which we have software for. And you need to change behavior and sort the childhood trauma. All this stuff needs to happen. We need to start a business for you or get you back working with the family. It all needs to happen. There's no point in just getting sober, because if I just get sober, go back to my apartment, I sat there doing nothing, guess what? I'm going to start drinking again.
Yeah. Yeah. Boredom sets in and you fall into old patterns, old routines. Amazing.
Apartments are
Amazing.
so important.
Can I just ask, when you said that with your mum, which I mean, I can see it in your eyes, like that's not a nice thing for you to almost want to repeat, but was that in the UK then? Were you in the UK then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was in it. So I was on the streets when I was 26, 27. I'm 64 now, 65. So it was many years ago. But yeah, I mean, and this is after going to college and stuff. But yeah, there's a couple of sad times that with all the work I've done and people have helped me, I'll still get upset. Like the day they took my children off me and the day mum died, and a doctor, the doctor that we used to see, he was kind of the first doctor that started wearing jeans and not giving a shit and no
Yeah.
tie t-shirt on it, and he just said, something, Rob? He said, you killed your parents. Yeah, what?
Wow.
And he explained to me, like, mum used to go there every week and she'd be crying and she'd be getting sicker, and fucking horrible, man. You got to carry that shit around. And if you don't do your work on you, you're going to die from that stuff. You can't carry that stuff, man. When I talk about my children, all that happened, and stabbing my wife, all that stuff that happened over a couple of days, it still wrenches my heart out.
Wow. And that's like, obviously at that moment, it's really bizarre that we were only talking about this in this last week's episode, about the things that we do for other people that we don't, we think that's what they want, for example, but like coming back to the one and coming back to what you need and what is more important. And I think sometimes some people will see that almost as alcohol abuse or drug addiction. They might see that as they're just being selfish.
Yeah.
And they're doing it all for themselves. They don't care about anyone else. Like, is there like, do you have to help people kind of understand that mindset from, obviously you're saying about working with the families, but like,
Yeah.
like for someone like, I'm going to use your mum as an example, but like your mum, did she just think you were a tearaway, or did she know what was going on underneath?
That's a great question, Andy. Nobody's asked me that question out of thousands of podcasts and interviews on TV. Nobody's asked that question. They tried. So, oh God, I've just thought of something else that's sad. So after everything was split up, I stayed at my mum and dad's house for a few weeks till they threw me out, being drunk every night. But I remember coming downstairs and going into the living room, and my dad scurrying and putting something behind the sofa. Because he likes to drink. He has like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'll have a few beers at home. I'll go out with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was, he's hidden his beer because he doesn't want to drink in front of me. And then something happened and he went upstairs. Mum called him upstairs. And I just snuck around the, back of the sofa to see what he was drinking.
You're good, man. You're good. If you don't want to share it, man, that's cool. It's like,
There was a
appreciate
book there, Andy. And it says in Understanding Alcoholism.
Oh,
And he'd been
fuck.
reading it. And this is a man that very rarely speaks. You can't give him a gift in front of him. He's very shy. He very rarely spoke to us. He loved us and all that. But yeah, how to understand alcoholism. So they tried, but like most
Wow.
people today are still baffled with alcoholism. Um, First of all, unless you've been there and done it, shut up. You can't teach anybody anything. I don't care how many degrees you've got. Um, but yeah, it was sad, man. I mean, God bless them. And the shit that my wife put up with, and my parents, and, my young kids who, yeah. But no, I love talking about this stuff. It just hits me when these memories come. Memories always come with a great podcaster, you
Mm.
know. And that's how Courtney finds you. We turn 20 podcasts a week down.
Yeah.
We're not interested. We're not. But she goes out and finds people that are changing the world, and then we humbly ask, can we come on? So no, I'm great at answering everything. I want to be real for the people listening, and it still kind of cuts me up a little bit, and I don't mind that because it doesn't linger. The memory comes, I voice it, and then it's disappeared. But it's important that people know the damage that alcoholics do.
Mm. Yeah, and you know what? Like, I'm really grateful for that comment as well, because for me, and we've probably all done this in business and stuff, where we always doubt whether we're good enough, whether we've done this or we've done, like you just said, you can have all the fucking degrees in the world,
Yeah. No.
but
Yeah.
unless you've been kicked in the bollocks, you
Yeah.
can't explain to people what it feels like to be kicked in the
No.
bollocks.
Yeah, and God bless the
Um,
people who go to college for addiction, training or degree or something. But I need somebody to speak to every month. So we were out to find a counselor for me. The problem, where are you, Andy? Are you in England?
I'm in Devon in England. Yeah, in
Devon.
England. Yeah,
So over
yeah.
here, in my industry, I'm well known. I'm on TV and just got books out. So when we were going into therapists, they were going, "Are you Dr. Robb Kelly?" Because I went as Robert Anthony Kelly to sort
Mm.
of hide. And he'd spend up talking about, who was this, what he did. I need to speak to somebody. So we booked 3 therapists, or my wife did. I went to the first one and he started talking, and I said, "Have you suffered from alcoholism or addiction?" And he said, "No, no." And I said, "Well, you can't help me." And he pointed to his degrees. I have a master's degree from some prestige
Mhm.
university. And I said, "Okay, then let me ask you something. If you had a bottle of vodka behind your back and I wanted to drink, what do you think I would do to get it?" "Well, you're trying to argue with me." "No, I'd stab you in the fucking face repeatedly until I got that bottle." Well, he was so shocked he was almost calling the police, so I left. Second one, exactly the same. We get to a third counselor. She's a woman. She's about 65, good condition, long straight. You can tell she was an old hippie. And she walked in and she said, "Okay, we'll take some details." And I said, "Let me ask you a question." So I went through the thing. "What do you think I would do?" And then I said, "I'd stab you in the face." And she looked at me and she said, "I'd stab you in the fucking face first." There's my girl. Because she's been through it. She was homeless. She was all this stuff, and she clawed her way back. And this is what she does. And I don't know how long ago that was, 14 years ago. I'm still with her now. I go once a
Wow.
month and get my stuff out because people don't do self-care as doctors and psychologists and even
Mm.
therapists. And every time you work with somebody, they take a piece of you away. And if you don't replenish that piece of you, I had a breakdown 11 years ago. They took me into a psych hospital because I'd just worn out. I was burnt out. I was just crying every day. And they explained to me, because you want to save the world when you know you have something like our program, you want to scream from the mountains and go, "Look what we got, look what we got."
Hmm.
But today boundaries, I have 4 patients every 3 months, and the rest of the staff, like, 100 patients at one time, but I deal with 4. Now I'm a concierge doctor, which means that them 4 are full time, because if that phone goes in the middle of the night with a text, I need to be on a plane within 45 minutes, the contract says. So there's a private airport near us, they call it FBO, and there'll be a plane waiting for me, and I've got to get there within 45 minutes. Otherwise, they'll cancel my contract. So it's crazy. Still a little bit of pressure,
Yeah.
but it's manageable today for me because I put boundaries up. "Hey,
Yeah.
Rob, listen, my car's broke down. Can you come round?" "No." Yes
Hmm.
or no, by the way, guys, it's a full enough answer. Don't get into all that explaining shit. "No,
Yeah.
I can come tomorrow." "Well, why can't you come today?" Yeah, my day's planned out today, buddy. You
Yeah, yeah.
know, I'm not going to be able to drop everything and go, because when I drop shit and start rushing around, it's not good for anybody with a head
No
like
way.
mine, you know? So I have to stay structured. And you mentioned, Andy, the patterns.
Mm,
The patterns are so important that we pick up from parents and caregivers and girlfriends, boyfriends, husband, wives. It's just dangerous, and we don't see them. Like
yeah.
you'll know. I try and explain to guys over here, and they go, "What do you mean a bus? What do you mean seaside?" Guys in the UK, have you ever got on a bus, Jolly Boys out or something? You all go to the seaside, get a few beers, act like a knob. You
Hmm.
know, when you get back on the bus, which seat do you sit in? It's usually the one you travel there in.
Yeah,
In actual fact, if somebody sat there, you'll go, "Hey, that's my seat." You see, that's a comfortable pattern that we're in. And
yeah.
there's billions of them that we do.
And you know what the funny thing is as well? It's the patterns that people are absolutely oblivious that they're in. Absolutely
It-
oblivious. Yeah.
yeah.
I am.
And it's really easy for several people to influence one person. How do we
Yeah.
know that? Everything I say on it, Andy, we've tried and tested, like say $1.5 million on research we've spent over the years. So we always do an exercise to find out, we're talking about the people around us now, the people who we
Hmm.
mix with.
Yeah, yeah.
How long would it take for, let's say, 9 people to convince you to do something that you think is absurd? So we got 9 actors in the waiting room. We paid them $100. Come in, have a cup of coffee, and here's the rules. One person in there will be a patient who has no knowledge of what you're going to do. But every 45 seconds, a buzzer will ring. I want you to stand, everyone stand up for a couple of seconds, let's say 4 seconds, and everyone sit down again. That's your job. One by one, we'll call you to the back as if you were patients.
Yeah.
Then we called the patient. We said, "Hey, we've got this new breathwork studio that we opened. Do you want to come in for a free?" Anyway, the stage was set. Everybody was in. First buzzer went. All 9 stood up. She's on her phone, and she glances and then back to the phone. Second buzzer. Everyone stands up. She puts her phone down and she's looking around, and they all sit down. The third buzzer. So we're into this now by about 3.5 minutes.
Mm.
She stood up with everybody, and she sat down with everybody. But the important thing is as they were called in the actors one by one, she was the only one left. She stood up.
Wow. And
And
you
that
know
took
what?
like 4 minutes.
That's just being in that environment, right?
Yep. And everybody wants to fit in. And the mirror part of the brain picks other behaviors up that we adopt when we're
Mm.
in a safe environment. So if you're on
It's
the
it.
streets or dangerous, you're not going to pick it up. But if you're in a safe environment, you're going to start acting like that without even knowing it.
Which is exactly why, they say about, if you want to be a millionaire, get in a room full of millionaires, right?
Correct. We're big on that.
Yeah.
You can't be successful hanging around 9 depressed people.
No.
I go back to Manchester 4 times a year, usually to see my daughter and my granddaughter, which I'll tell you about later. That was a miracle. And I see the same old guys in the same old pubs talking about the same old shit, drinking the same beer.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife's, and I'm like, guys, you ever heard of an airplane? There's a huge world out there. Why are you still, coming to America was the best thing I ever did. I was living in a council flat. It was horrible. I had hardly any money. I came over here, man, and I did my first million within about 14 months or something.
Wow.
It's
So what
crazy.
was the like that moment for you then that you went like, because obviously selfishly I want to ask you a little bit about music, because obviously being a bass player and a musician, but what was that shift for you? Was there a shift career wise? Were you doing something completely different before you moved to America, or?
So the homelessness, yeah, I was seeing, so I was before I was homeless, when all the drinking started real serious, I owned a telecom company building the masts for the
Oh
for
wow.
the telecommunications. That's what we did. I started with a company that did that, and I thought I can do this shit. So I took 5 companies with me, and we did it.
That's
Uh,
because you're in a room full of people putting up telecom
Correct.
masks, right?
I
Yeah. Okay.
watched
Cool.
them. I watched how they do it. And I started being friendly with these CEOs of the companies. And I was, we love you, Rob. You're likable. And I said, listen, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're with you. So again, alcoholics and addicts are geniuses. Don't let anybody else tell you that, guys. We really are. But after the homeless, I was on the streets for 14 months. And like I said, I died twice, and they brought me back to life on a stinky
Wow.
back end street of Manchester twice. And still didn't think I had a problem after 14 months.
Wow.
And I'm walking down the back end of Manchester, offices and factories only, dropped onto my knees, crying like a baby. And the reason why I was crying is not because I'd lost everything, my kids, my wife, our business. It's because the first time in my life I realized I couldn't stop drinking. And I looked up
Wow.
to the sky and I said, if there's a God up there, I was an atheist. If there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. And then a guy walked around the corner. His name was Derek. He took me home. I went to an AA meeting the next day. I met a guy called John who took me through this program over 12 weeks, told me these things start coming true. A few days later, or a week later, I went back to his house to give him a gift and thank him. Nobody there, not traceable. Nobody's ever heard of him. And we never heard from him ever again. And I got the detective agency back in the day onto him. I paid a fortune and nobody could find him. But what he taught me is what I teach today. We don't do therapy. We don't do the 12 step. We don't do any of that shit. We're pure neuroscientists is what we are.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the bottom of stuff. So that was the big change for me. And then I came over here for 3 weeks. Somebody had heard of my work, which is it was just in like Sale, Manchester, a little tiny office, probably 12 by 12 or something. And I got speaking to a girl on the early Christian chat sites. And
Wow.
the church invited me over for 3 weeks and I never went back home.
Wow.
Yeah. And then,
Wow.
I was there. So I was there for 3 weeks and 4 weeks. And then somebody says, we've got to put your green card. This was 20 years ago. It was quite easy, but there was a waiting list. So I was illegal, kind of, even though it filed. But I want to say about 2, 3, 4 months in, I went to Austin, which is like fucking 4 hours away, to speak at an AA meeting. I'm not fucking going to Austin. 4 hours. You can get from fucking London for. So we went. I spoke. Horrible conditions outside, pitch black. After the speak, somebody comes over. I own this production company. We want to do some DVDs with you. Here's my number. I went back home. The guy called Bob used to drive me around. He loved what we did, or what I did, speaking and everything. And then I signed a contract, and he paid me 200 grand. That's
Wow.
how we start. Yeah, that's how I started opening the offices and stuff.
It's just like that. Definitely is that one of those moments where, like you say, that guy that sort of helped you
Oh yeah.
was like you're not particularly religious, but it felt like a fucking guardian angel, right?
Oh, 100%. And I'd
Yeah.
never tell that story for so long because when I went back to his house, the same place with little teddy bear and a card, knocks on the door, no answer. And the curtains, the net curtains, which nobody knows what net curtains are over here, the
Yeah, I
net
know.
curtains were dirtier. The right-hand woman came out in her apartment. Can I help you, love? And I said, "Where's John? Is he in?" He's like, she said, "John who?" And I said, "John, your neighbor." So I'm on nights or something. So I went round to the left and knocked on his door. A big guy come, "What do you want?" I said, "Where's John?" "John who?" Says, "Your neighbor, John." Anyway, he continued in an angry voice to tell me that that apartment is derelict, and if I did walk in, I'd drop 3 floors below and kill myself. So I think these guys are insane, Andy. So I go back to the meeting where I'd met John several months ago. And as I walked in, the chairman was like, "Rob." And I'm like, "Thank God for that." I thought I was going insane. And I said, "What time does John get in?" And he said, "John who?" And I said, I was over near the coffee machine. I was speaking about, that. He said, "Oh my God, Rob, you was talking to yourself. We thought you were praying." Never found that man. But he was talking about neuroscience
Right.
25 years ago, maybe a bit more. And that's the stuff we got intrigued about. So here's how it started. I knew it was never about the alcohol, Andy. Or I thought I knew. So alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, the same with food, sex, drugs. It's not the problem here. I'm outside a liquor store. The news agent that can't
Yeah,
serve
yeah,
alcohol till 10. Again, nobody
yeah.
knows. What's a news agent? I'm outside there at 5 o'clock. And it's snowing. I've got a vest on, shorts, pair of flip-flops, and I'm sweating profusely. I can't talk properly. I'm shaking so badly, it's unreal. I know I'm going into the DTs. If I don't get alcohol or emergency hospital straight away, I know I'm going to die, and I wanted to die. He
Yeah.
opens the door as usual at 5 o'clock, and I scurry in, and he closes the door behind me. And I was like this, Andy. Can I, can I get the usual, please? And I put my money in, and he put the bottle on the counter. Them handle bottles on the
Yeah.
counter. And for whatever reason, this was my reaction. Headaches went, sweat stopped, shaking stopped, mood instantly in milliseconds changed, and I'm happy. And I remember like it was slow motion. The cap was still on. I just had my hand around the bottle, and I looked at the shopkeeper, and I looked back at the bottle, and I went, "Fuck me! It's not about the alcohol." And
Do you
that's
know
what
what?
started everything
I
off.
wanna ask you. So, a buddy of mine, Marcus, basically came onto the podcast a little while back, and he helps people in the UK with alcohol. And it's really interesting because I didn't have a great relationship with alcohol. I don't drink. I haven't drunk for quite a few years. And my relationship was, one, I don't like people when they're drunk, but ultimately I use that as an excuse, as a defense, because I didn't really like being around my dad when he was drinking. I had many years of like seeing the phone. When like your home phone with the BT ones, where you used to have the little caller ID. And I remember when my dad's still with us now, but my dad's phone number would come up if it was past 7 o'clock at night. I just wouldn't fucking answer, because it would just be a drunken, weird conversation. It was like, I can't even tell you what it was about now, because it just never made sense. It was always a bit of a, he's been drinking kind of thing. Anyway, so my question I want to ask you, what's your view on alcohol-free booze?
Oh yeah, I love that question. So it's got a 0.0000001% alcohol. So if you're a heavy drinker or abuse alcohol, drink it all day long. It's going to be amazing, fantastic. If you're the real alcoholic, alcohol's in the family. When you take the first drink, can you stop? No, I can't. Then it's the only self-diagnosed illness in the world, alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and do the same behavior at the pubs with the same thing, remember 1% alcohol, 99% thought patterns and damage, you're going to drink again. You're going to relapse.
Yeah.
It's not about the alcohol. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, repeating a behavior or pattern will take you right back. And it's called the basal ganglia in the head. It's a repetitive part of the brain. It's how you learn stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Goes right back, man, to day one, and you will relapse. It's simple as that. The stats show us this. 25 years of stats and research over this stuff, because people want to do that. Now, again, both show up the same, alcoholics and heavy drinkers, or people who abuse alcohol. I say to them, I want to stop drinking. I say, well, just stop. What's wrong with you? How old are you? 46? What's wrong with you? Grow up.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak to them like that. But alcoholics are different. They're very sick. So if you start repeating any kind of behavior, then the basal ganglia will pick that learned behavior from the past and repeat the same actions and behavior and thought patterns.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I think I've always struggled with as well. And the reason being is because there's always been this stigma. Oh, you're not having a drink? What's wrong with you?
Oh,
You melt.
right.
But now people are going, well, actually, for the people I think who actually, do you know what? I want to still go out and have a nice time. I've never had an issue with alcohol. I personally think non-alcoholic beer. I mean, for me, I always laugh at Lee Evans, because you remember the comedian Lee Evans. Lee Evans, like, they do wine tasting. They do beer tasting, do they? They do beer soiree tasting, because it tastes like shit. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's like, but now they're bringing in all these non-alcoholic drinks and stuff. And I've got mates of mine that said, oh, I went out, I had a work do, and I just got loads of grief. I just came home early because I was drinking non-alcoholic beer. And you're like, might as well just have an orange juice then.
Correct. It's just, I didn't drink because I liked the taste. I drank to get wasted. And if I'm drinking something, alcoholics and addicts have an all in or all out kind of brain.
Yeah.
We're either going to go in and get blasted, or we're not going to touch it. Like my wife would go, we're going to a party and I don't want you to drink, but when you come home, you can drink. Like 5 minutes. Are you ready to go yet? Well, no, are you ready to go yet? It was a nightmare for me until I got back home and I drank to oblivion.
Yeah.
But it's like that over here. It's like, oh, nobody asks you why. Okay, so you go to a barbecue and you go, you want a beef burger? Yeah. You want cheese on it? No. Okay, no problems. Yeah, right? They don't go, you don't eat cheese? Why?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
What's going on?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? But I don't drink. There's a thing that we said years ago, and that is, two guys at the bar, one said, do you want a drink? And he said, no, I'm in trouble, like child molester or something like that, something funny. And he said, I'm sorry. And he said, I thought you said you don't drink. It's kind of child molesting's okay, but if you don't drink, you want to be quizzed over that. It's crazy. That's what it's like, though.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to the barbecue? I don't take what? It's just with alcohol. It's not as bad over here as it is in England.
Yeah.
Where you don't. When I grew up on the council estates, and if you didn't drink, you weren't trusted in certain
Yeah.
circles. And then Dad comes home every night as a beer, 1 pint of beer, goes home. Don't know how the fuck he did that, but I can't have 1 pint of beer because I'm there all night.
Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting when you get down to the intricate parts of the brain that addiction and alcoholism serves, because it'll blow your mind. It
Oh
really
man, I
would.
find it mesmerizing because it's that mentality of people. Again, that's their patterns and behaviors as well.
Yes.
Well, I drink, so why didn't you?
Yeah.
But I love the cheeseburger analogy. That's
right.
just
Nobody
yeah.
asks you. You don't eat cheese. Why?
Yeah.
What? Are you okay? You don't. Nobody asks you. But alcohol, everybody wants to quiz you.
Yeah.
And in the early days, when I came here, I couldn't work legally, but so I played in bands at night time.
Mm-hmm.
I joined bands, and that's how I earn my money. And people say, "Hey, but Rob, do you want a bit?" No. Or we get to the bar, and some fucking smart ass barman would go, "Hey, what are you having, buddy?" Everyone's having whiskeys and I'll just have an orange juice. Oh, you don't? Oh, there's sissy in the corners having an orange juice, and stuff like that. And back to the bar, all 6 of us. Do you want another orange juice? And I said, I'll tell you what. Why don't you give me a pint of lager? Oh, okay. And then give me another one. And then when I drink my 4th or 5th, it'd be really interesting when I beat the shit out of you behind the bar and probably stab you to death. Then I'm going to go home and do your wife, and I'm going to kill the kids. And he was like, what the fuck? That's what it is for me. I don't have normal thought patterns. When I was drinking and you cut me off in the car, I'm visualizing how I could follow you home and set fire to the house with everybody in it. I don't think like normal people. Now, thank God in Texas, everybody carries guns. You don't need a license now. It's just open carry. You put a gun on your hip. So there's no getting out of cars and arguing with people. You're fucking shot over here.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, It's really crazy.
You know the band, the singer Kid Rock?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Very well.
so in America when my band was signed in 99 2000.
You were signed?
Yeah, so we were signed with to RCA Records.
Shut up.
And so we were signed to RCA, and we had Mike Scott from the Waterboys as manager, who used to look after us. So Philip Tennant used to look after us in the UK, and we were looking for an American manager. Now, I remember doing a gig in the Water Rats in King's Cross in London, and it was the first time that Steve Hutton, who found and signed Kid Rock, and he historically had the big fallout with Kid Rock, and he was coming over from America to meet us. And our manager, Phil, was like, right, guys, I want you guys on your fucking mind tonight. You've got to be on it. This is the showcase of showcases. Like, we're going to get like American representation. And I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be amazing. So no one's going to drink. And I'm really nervous. So I'm like, I'm just going to get Coke. Every time I got a Coke, I got double Malibu in it. Right? I've never in my life told anyone this story, but it's just something that's just come out right now. And I get a double Malibu in it. And I'm like, for me, I'm not really a drinker, but I really need to calm my nerves down because you just told me that this is fucking. Anyway, we did the show. My UK manager came up to me and said, Andy, I don't know what the fuck you did tonight, but do that every fucking time.
Wow.
That was the best I've ever seen you on stage.
Wow.
And I remember going, but I don't like drinking. My dad's an alcoholic. I don't like alcohol. And at that point, really, to be fair, I hadn't really identified my dad as an alcoholic. Yeah. I just had identified my dad. I'd always grown up. My dad was always drinking. And I remember to this day thinking, fuck, is that what I've got to do? Yeah. And that could have been. And this is so weird that we're having this conversation because last Friday I met up with the singer and I met up with the previous guitarist, and we went up to a local town near us, and we went and had Chinese, which was really cool. And it's so funny. Like one of them is vegan, one of them doesn't have sugar, and we're talking about it, and we just had the conversation. We're like, do you know what? If it had carried on, which one of us would be dead now?
Yeah.
And we're like, 100%, one of us would have been. And to be fair, even if I look back now, I can hand on heart say I've never really, even in my whole life, really ever had a great relationship with alcohol. Never really enjoyed it. Never really found it addictive. But that moment in my life where I was just told, if you want to continue, do that every day. Scary,
crazy.
right?
I mean,
dude, I'm going to have to ask this because it is. So, tell me a little bit about your music history, man, because like you played with some cool people as well, right?
yeah, I have, again, all or nothing brain. So I got my first bass guitar. My auntie and uncle were musicians. They were on the road Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday playing. And by the age of 9, I'm on stage playing. And I always remember it was Liverpool Irish Centre.
Nice.
And we're there playing. And it's weird because I'm fucking 9 years old, for God's sake. But I had a Mustang bass because it was smaller than every other bass. It was like a Mustang color. It was the mustard color. And the curtains opened, these big velvet curtains opened, and the drummer, and I went, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many freaking people in here. And I freaked out a little bit, and I missed some notes, and we got off at half time, and Uncle Pete said, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm scared. And he said, hey, drink this beer, you'll feel better. So I drank this half a beer, and the whole fucking world just changed, man. I was on there like Chuck Berry the second half. It was just amazing.
Wow.
So we stayed with them for a year or so playing, and I got my own band, and then we're traveling around, and it was just amazing time, obviously, like And then somebody said to me somewhere, can you cover for me today? He was a session player. And I said, yeah, of course I can. Yeah, where is it? It's, in Stockport, Strawberry Studios, like 10cc on them. I said, yeah. So I remember like yesterday, I walked in with my bass. I sat on this stool. Everything was ready, sheet music. There were 3 pieces of sheet music to play. Now, it's the same today, but back in the day, you'd put $500 of a music instrument into a $400 car, drive 400 miles to get paid $20. I mean, that's just was gigging, like, I got my guitar out, I plugged it in, I put the headphones on, and he says, okay, Rob, you ready? And I said, yeah, and the track started, and you play the bass, you don't hear anything else, as you know. And I played 3 songs in about, I don't know, first take. I would finish by 25 minutes. And the guy gave me £100. And I'm like, oh, you've overpaid
How old were you then?
I don't know, man. 18, 19, 17, around that area. It was like, I don't know. I was earning more than my dad when I got the session bass position at Abbey Road. And I'm like, oh my, so I can come here and get this kind of money and be earning 20. So I became a session player whenever I could get the work. Then I saw an ad in Melody Maker, and it was session bass player
that's
for
a
Abbey
blast
Road.
from the past.
Right. I got session bass player Abbey Road. So I called them. Anyway, I got like an audition. So I got on the train with my guitar and I traveled down there and I got to Abbey Road. So there was a bunch of veterans, good bass players. But again, I'm fucking the bass never left me. Restroom, bath, I don't give a shit. I was playing the bass. So I remember stood outside, Andy, and I'm nervous, man, because this is the big time. Like, and there was a liquor store off license about, I don't know, 600 yards up the road. And my mentality was, I'm just going to have one special brew. You know, that fucking special brew. I'm just going to have one drink to calm my nerves. And I did. Go in, you do your sessions, sheet music, you come out, you go back home, and a couple of days later, they call you. They go, hey, we got a second audition. Would you like to come down? Yeah, I come, da 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 da. Now I had 2 special brews for the second interview because my mind
I was going to say your brain was like, yeah, well, I did special brew last time. Got to repeat that pattern, mate.
I got 5 auditions for that, and I drank 5 special brews outside Abbey Road, and I was fucking wasted. I went in, I did the audition, don't remember it. I got back home, and I woke up next day, and I went, you idiot, you absolute idiot, you know? And then they called me and said, hey, we'd like to offer you a contract to play at Abbey Road. I was like, what, same as you. You played amazing. So I went down there, and that's kind of where the cocaine set in, because we do early shifts. So Elton John, David Bowie, Freddie Mercury. I did sessions for all of those guys in the middle of the night. I remember once I was in with Elton John. There was his guitarist there, the drummer, the bass player was wasted somewhere.
What's his guitarist called? Is it Dave? Is it Davey?
Yeah. He's been with him for years. I can't remember. I
long
think
hair
that's
guy.
the
Yeah,
guy. So we're playing. It's a horrible night. The raining, lightning, and every now and again, Abbey Road back in the day had amazing backup generators, but it was a millisecond that he would stop to change over. And
yeah.
Elton, after about 3 or 4 times, he said, "Fuck this! Like we're gonna go back. Let's all go back to the hotel." So he's staying at the suite at the Savoy. So it's pouring down, it was soaking. We get there up to the penthouse. There was me, there was Elton, there was 4 or 5 other guys, there was 6 women. And he was just like, it was great. So we're in this apartment and I hear Elton screaming. You can Google this, guys. I heard him shouting at the top of his voice on the phone from his bedroom. So I walked in and the scene was that he was screaming at the general manager that if he doesn't stop the rain and the wind, he's never going to stay in that hotel again. And that was the madness that I was surrounded with. It was crazy.
Wow.
I remember on a plane, he got on his plane and it was a surprise birthday for him. And they brought Stevie Wonder over to play Happy Birthday on the piano. He had a fucking piano on the plane. And Elton, he was in a bad mood, locked himself in the bedroom. He wouldn't come out. Because he didn't know. It's a surprise. And people like, Stevie Wonder's outside. I'm not coming out. I don't give a... Never come out. Never come out. And Stevie Wonder was taken off the plane and crazy days, man.
Wow, that's mad, man. I mean, like I could, well, I mean, in the old days, I'd probably say we need to have a drink. We need to have a beer and have a chat over that. But that would definitely be a coffee moment to me these days.
Yeah. It's,
wow.
I've seen some crazy stuff, man. Like over here, like any A-lister that's, any mega movie star I've worked with, any mega musician. The only one I can mention, because there's a lot of rumors out there, but I can always mention this, and that's when I was over here about 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, the first year, and we got a call off an agent in LA, and basically they wanted me to work with Eddie Van Halen. So I don't know about you, but back in the day...
I swear I was just reading about Van Halen. I've just got Ozzy Osbourne's latest book. And
I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So I lost the music industry, took over. So I didn't listen to pop music. I was always rehearsing for the next songs for the next week. So that's what I was doing. I missed out. People said, "You're crazy." Black Sabbath, didn't know anything about them. So I'm stood in the airport and he comes over and he goes, "Hey, are you Dr. Robb?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm Eddie Van Halen." I says, "Oh, great to meet you." He went, "No, not great to meet me. Why am I recognizing you and you're recognizing me?" And I said, "Oh, okay. Turn around and get back on the fucking plane because you're not coming on with me with attitude like that." And I walked out. And when I got to the car or something, the phone went. And he said, "Eddie's going crazy inside and what you trying to do?" And I said, "Listen, it's either my rules or not. I don't give a shit how much he's paying, none of my business. But yeah, the follows my room, he doesn't." So I went back in and he sat on a bench waiting for me. And we picked him up, we brought him back, and he stayed with us for 3 months at the ranch, and then he signed his huge second contract. And then, but the funny thing is, Andy, my God, yeah, you're going to love this.
So mad.
So we have a music room at the lodge, where we keep him. We only keep one patient any one time. It's like $100,000 a month to stay there. So music was there. We had trainers and everything. And he was on the guitar and he was riffing and doing great stuff. And we're in the other room and he plays this riff from Michael Jackson called, the Beat It song. And he plays the riff. And he goes to Janet, "Oh my God." And Janet was smiling because she didn't really know that I didn't know. And I walked in and said, "Eddie, oh my God, I didn't know you play guitar that good." That was just like the record, man. And he said, "That was me on the record." And I felt about this freaking big. I'm like, yeah, I knew that, Eddie. It's just, it's like mega stars I've worked with. So when you get up to these mega star houses, you're led in by security and all that. And my first big major movie star, I'm walking through the front door. There's attorneys there. There's bodyguards there. There's me and my crew there. And just for a second, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, Rob? If they find out who you really are, these guys are going to crucify what you do. Just for a second. And then after a bit, you get used to it. And then they depend on you because they're in a bad state. And then the confidence is bigger. But the first couple of times, man, when you're when you're working with one of the biggest rap stars in the world, and his mentor comes, which is a bigger rap star from the 80s and 90s, um, as a doctor, I felt very out of my space. But when you're working with them people, man, it's just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But as time went on and you work with more and you work with more and more, it's a great life, man. It's really flying on private jets, staying in the best, you know. One guy, actor, calls me up middle of the night. Doctor Rob, can you get to the plane? Yeah, okay, 45 minutes there. We get to LA, we pick him up. Where are we going? Jamaica. I said, what? Yeah, we're going to Jamaica. I have a 5,000 square foot house there. We're going to chill out for it. I stayed there for 6 days with him, and the money was insane that he
See,
was
my
paying.
first thought would have been, I haven't got my flip flops.
Right? It's crazy life
Yeah.
though, man, that I have right now. And I'm just blessed to be here. And we just always want to be giving. But that's like, we get a patient who can't afford nothing. And we say to him, how much you spend on beer? $50 a week. Okay, that's your charge to come here. So he brings his son one day because there was no babysitter. And his son sat in, he's probably 10, 11, 12. And he had a guitar in reception. And he's picking it up and he's playing it. And it was a Taylor. It was a Taylor guitar. And his father came out and he said, put the guitar down. We shouldn't be playing on that. And I said, he's pretty good, man. He says, I know, we had a guitar, but it broke. So I come into my office, I give him a Fender Stratocaster. I give him a Fender Precision bass. I give him an amplifier, and I give him headphones instead of driving your dad mad. And there's probably about $5,000 worth of stuff that I gave to the kid. His dad was crying. He's like, that's what I live for today.
Yeah, man.
I live to make other people, like I'm always talking to people. I'm the annoying fuck on the lift talking to everyone. I'm that guy. Everyone good this morning? Are we good, guys? And everyone's looking in 9 different directions. I'm like, who's good today? Who's a 10 out of 10 today? And after about 20 seconds, they go, I'm a 10 out of 10. I can't help it, man. And that's why I wear steady glasses. They're conversation starters. Because
I wouldn't say they're silly.
The
first thing I noticed when I saw you there was like, dude, those glasses are fucking cool.
Yeah. There's not one person I haven't met, Andy, where they've gone, oh, I love the glasses or the pants. I wear like stupid pink pants. And oh my God, I said, oh, right. I have like 28 pairs. I go, no way. And they go, what do you do for a living? You're from England. I go, yeah. What do you do? I'm a doctor. I'm a psych doctor. What do you specialize in? Alcohol and drugs. Oh my God, my uncle, or my auntie, or my brother. There's not one person. So we know that everybody knows somebody with an alcohol or drug problem. And if you don't, it's probably you. That's how crazy affected, but everybody hides it. The stats we hear from the meds that from the medical fraternity are not right. No. We were allowed to go into a ER, emergency room hospital in Richardson, just outside Dallas, and we were around to monitor people coming in on a Friday and Saturday night. 90, and our stats are not perfect, but 92% of people, and it was a crazy busy ER that walked through the door had alcohol or drugs inside them. Okay, 92%. Out of the 92%, 31% had to stay overnight. Out of 31%, 2 people died. The 2 people died was not reported as alcohol or drug overdose. It was reported as a car crash and a stove fire, like a chip pan or something left on. So the stats are not right. People would be aghast if they knew the stats, but nobody's going to say anything because alcohol earns too much money over here.
It's like the opposite of COVID times, right? People were having car crashes and they're getting in there saying, what was the reason for death? The reason was COVID. And you're like, well,
yeah. We know that for a fact because I have a few medical doctors, high profile ones, are going, Rob, don't believe the hype. And I should have get the inject. No. I said, and then he used to tell me and then I had to get it to come home to see my daughter. So when they took my kids off me, so I stabbed my wife 3 times. I got to the front door, picked the phone up, called the taxi, which is rank was around the corner, and I called the ambulance and police. And the taxi arrived first, and when I heard the sirens, I got in the car and I fled to Spain. There's an attempted murder charge out on me, and she didn't die. And 3 months later, they dropped all charges, and I come home. When I got home, she's packed all the bags ready to go. You know, she knew exactly what time my dad had to pay for all the flights and the taxis. And I got home with all the sorries, and she said, Rob, I'll love you to the day I die, but you're not going to kill our kids. And she left. Well, I'm like, you have no idea who I am. You know, you don't walk out with my kids. So I'm like 3 days sober by now. And I get some to my attorney. And you know, it's like a $5,000 or something. I got a check for $5,000, get my kids back. I'm getting back tomorrow. Can you do it? I don't know, man. Let me go to the court. So he's at the courts early. He got an order to collect the kids and bring them back. It was a court order, you know. And he brought them back the next day. I opened the door, gave him the check, brought the kids in, like, Daddy, Daddy, and brought them in. It was like the youngest one was 1 or 2, and the eldest one was 3 or 4, around that age. And I put him in front of the TV and turned a cartoon on, and I went in the kitchen, and the thought hit my mind, wouldn't it be great to have one drink to celebrate the kids coming home? 2 days later, when the police kicked the door down, I'd been in oblivion. The kids had not been changed nappies or been fed. I nearly killed those children. They kicked me awake. They served me with unfit father papers. I'm trying to get up and just, you know, oh, it's just amazing. My head's like, fuck, what have you done this time? Mom grabbed Charlie, the eldest one, and mother-in-law grabbed the 2-year-old, and they went out, and the police was there, the child services, child protection. So there's like 30 people outside, and I was crying, and even one of the police officers was crying. And my daughter was holding Mommy's hand, and she said 3 things. She says, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. How resilient are children. Halfway down the path, she said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And as they got to the gate, they opened this big wrought iron gate, and she turned around and said, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it. So weeks later, I'm homeless, you know, sat on the streets going, where the hell did that just go wrong? So I didn't see her for 30 years. And about 4 years ago, I got a text, you know, the text in the middle of the night. I've got to answer it, like, get off the phone. And it's Charlie. We called her Charlie, messaging me on Facebook. And do you know what the first couple of words were? Hey, Dad. I'd never heard them words. Hey, Dad, you know, I've seen you on TV. It's about time. I'm sick of everyone, you know, telling me bad stuff about you. I need to see you. So, like, within an hour and a half, we're on a plane. We're heading back. Stayed in a hotel B&B around the corner. I was walking there. We was meeting at 9 o'clock, and my wife's holding me, and I'm crying. I'm sobbing. I can't walk properly. And I got to the door, and I said, Janet, I can't do this. All this shit came back, all the letdowns, all the disgrace. You know, I passed out at one of the school plays, and they had to carry me out. All that stuff, I couldn't do it. And just about when I'm turned to walk away, she opened the door, and we hugged and we cried. I thought it was like an hour, sorry. Apparently it was a minute. And then she's like, Dad, and she took me by my hand, and she walked me into a living room, and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
Yeah, shit, man.
It was right there and then I knew, Andy, I was doing the right thing. And I said, God, if you want to take me now, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Man.
That Charlie is my lead therapist in my Manchester, UK office right now. And I see my granddaughter, she's 4 years old. We speak most days on Zoom. I go over there to visit them. And this is the shit that happens when you get well and you do the right thing, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So loads of great stuff like that has happened to me over the years. So I have a book out called Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. And it's all the stuff that I went through. It's kind of my life story. And it's funny because I give bits and pieces for over a 3-year period to my wife, and she's a writer. She combined the book, but we didn't have a title. So the first time we went home to see Charlie, I'm sat there with my granddaughter, and we're just having a chippy, pudding chips and gravy. Fuck, I missed that shit.
I bet
So we're
you
having
did.
So we're having pudding chips and gravy on the sofa, and we're telling her, I want to dedicate this book to you, and da da da. I said, but we haven't got a title for it. And she said, Dad, what about the last thing I told you? And I said, I can't remember. And he said, it was Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. So that's the title of the book. Yeah, actually. So that's me on a visit, wasted completely on one visit when I've started to get my shit together. That's my daughter, Charlie, who's my lead therapist. And then about a year ago, my youngest daughter got in contact with me, Abigail. So everything's come back. Even the ex-wife is kind of speaking nice things through Abigail to me. Tell your dad to take care. I'm glad he's doing so well. So when people say, why are you happy every day? I'm like, I don't have bad days. I have better
Yeah.
days than others because I'm human. How the fuck can I have a bad day? Because in Piccadilly Gardens in Manchester, there was a bench there. That was my restroom. It was my dining room. It was my bedroom. I stayed there for 14 months on that bench. I was streetwise. I could fight, and I was fighting most days to stay alive up there.
Wow, man.
So when I get to where I am now, you know, fucking have a bad day. Because I have
Wow.
everything. I mean, the money side of it is insane, Andy. I mean, I just bought a car. I just bought a Bentley. I just bought a Bentley Speed about a year ago. It's 340 grand. My dad would kill me if he was alive. But when you get to that level, it's like, fuck
Your
it.
dad's. I mean, you grew up in Manchester, like when you did, like your dad's house probably didn't cost like probably could buy about
No,
5 of his houses, right?
we grew up in council houses, you
Mm.
know. And they both passed away. They didn't really see me as success over here. But it's insane. It's like, but for me, it's very important. So me and Janet give $150,000 every year of our bank account back
Mhm.
into communities in England and in America. In actual fact, we just had one where a guy lost his kids. He started to work with us pro bono, free of charge.
Mhm.
And the judge said, if you can get your shit together and show the court that you are stable, with a good job and a apartment or something, we'll look at weekend visits. So we paid 12 months on an apartment, and we help him find a job. We buy a suit for him for court. We hire an attorney. We Uber him down. He's all prim and proper, and he got his kids for Saturday and Sunday every week, paid in
Wow,
full. That's the shit
that's
that I live
amazing.
for. Not, I don't even know what money's. Yeah, I don't get involved with that shit. I've no idea what milk cost, egg. I just don't know any of that shit. I stay away
Yeah.
because you know something. I won't watch this podcast. I mean, if you go onto Google there's probably 1,000 podcasts and hundreds of TV. I've never watched one of them. I've never read my book. And do you know why, Andy? I might start to believe that hype and that shit, and that's
Yeah.
dangerous for me. And I
Yeah.
just won't do it.
No.
I can't get past the first page anyway because he talks about Charlie and the losses and the stuff. And
Yeah.
I tried to read it once and I was crying too much. I couldn't get past the first page. But
Yeah.
if you can give back all the time, man, and it doesn't have to be money. It could be time. It could be good morning. There's a great story I tell, true story when I'm doing conferences. Guy 25, 26 walked to the Golden Gate Bridge, threw off and committed suicide. And the police dragged him out. They found his license. So went back to his apartment. They're looking around for any next of kin that they can find. And they find a letter on the kitchen table. And it read, I'm going to walk to the Golden Gate Bridge, which is an hour's walk, by the way, throw myself off and commit suicide unless on the way there, somebody nods at me, smiles at me, says good morning to me or
Oh, fucking hell, man.
anything. And I will turn around and I'll start again tomorrow. So the question I always ask somebody is, how many people have you walked past today who's heading to the Golden Gate Bridge? You see, you never
Wow,
know.
man.
A word or two can save their life. We have it all the time. We don't know the ripple effect. And people say, well, I can't change the world. And I go, listen, next time you're in a built-up area of people, watch somebody walking, man or woman, walking towards you with nice training shoes or sneakers over here. And I want you to say 2 words, nice sneakers. That's all you need to say. You go, nice sneakers. And you go, oh, thanks, man. Turn around and watch him walk past you. He's going to look down at his sneakers 2 or 3 times. Now he's in a good mood. Now he gets home to the wife or girlfriend because he's in a good mood. Now she's in a good mood. Then the mother-in-law calls and you get the gist. You've probably changed at the end of the day 10 people's lives and you have no idea you've done it. You see, you can't think small. You have to think big. If you think you can't change the world today, I want to apologize to you. Somebody's fucking put that there. That's not true. If you want to build an empire, I opened about 2 years ago. My sister's like, we've worked all our lives, we're making shit. So I said, come over here, we'll open an English restaurant, serving all stuff, fish and chips, battered, all everything to do with England.
That's purely because you
Serve
wanted
it.
the fish and chips, really, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah. So we built this restaurant next to my offices. Before we did, my financial guy calls me, he said, Rob, you're in Tex-Mex. It's most Mexican food that takes off in Texas. No, nobody's done it. Nobody will ever do it. Stop.
Yeah.
Don't waste 250 grand on it. And I brought my sister over and we had got her an investor's visa and we started 2.5 years ago. And we're in the top 12% of restaurants right now who are taking most money. And they're talking about chain restaurants as well.
Yeah.
It's like it's thriving every single day. It's funny because most of the British people in San Antonio applied to do wait staff and cooking. Everyone in there is English.
Yeah.
So it's become this themed restaurant that people love. And we only open from 9 till 3. And it's unbelievable. See, because I don't care what you say I can't do, because my answer's the same. Says who? Well, you can't. Says who? You can't come over there and be an Oprah and stuff. Says who? Who's making these fucking rules up? Because I don't like them. So I'm going to change the rules. You can change the rules, guys. You know, and people are so scared of stepping out that box, and you want to stay in we stay in jobs way too long, relationships way too long, because we love that comfort zone. So you won't remember it before your time, but there was a girl snatched off the street, schoolgirl, blue eyes, blonde hair, back in 1968, 69. There was a huge manhunt. Nobody could find her. So they pulled up, presumed dead. 9 months later, police cars following another car, and he had a broken back light, so he pulls him over. Now, back in the day, guys, we didn't have computers and stuff, so they would say, is this your car? And if the driver said yes, you go, well, what's in the boot? And a yellow jacket pair of boots, open, there it is. This guy they pulled over was cagey. So they found a stolen screwdriver in his boot. So now they were allowed to go back to the house. And sure enough, there were lawnmowers, there were ladders, there were drills. Then they found this box in the corner. It's like 4 foot high by 12 foot wide. It's got a big padlock on it. And they say, we know you got more stolen stuff in there. And he denies all knowledge of this box, which is in the main room. They smashed the lock off, they opened the box, and there was the girl that went missing 9 months ago. She was bruised and battered, but she was alive. He used to take her out every day, abuse her, bathe, food, restroom, whatever, back in the box for 9 freaking months. So when the policewoman leant over, she took the hand of this girl and she helped to step outside the box. She took her police coat off and she wrapped it round this little girl. What's the first thing the little girl did? She got back in the box. And that's what we do in life, man. No heroes, no millionaires, no leaders are born from the comfort zone. You got to step out of that shit. Man. You've got to do shit that you don't want to do or never thought you'd do. You got to, don't start a business. Fucking websites, $12, cards are $99. It's a bit, start a fucking empire. Because if not you, who? If not now, when? We're never ready. And you're never ready. Do it now. Yeah. How many times 1 minute I'm waving them off to over his kindergarten. Next minute I'm waving them off to college. It's like you get one fucking shot at this, guys. So if we look at average human being age in Texas, the average for men is 75 years. That's it. About 75 years we die. Okay. Yeah. I'm 65. I have 10 Christmas times left. Wow. You think I'm going to sit my ass over here and do nothing? No. I'm going to do everything and anything. You see, at the end of the day, everybody's jealous about what I have, but nobody's jealous how I got here. Yeah. And that's the problem with society. They look at him, fucking look at me. Well, I wish I had that. Pay the price I paid, man. I'll give you everything. Pay the price I paid to be in these shoes right now. They don't see the iceberg underneath. They just see the big iceberg, little iceberg on top. They don't see the shit that we had to go through to get here. Yeah. So why wouldn't I try? Why wouldn't I, be the best in the world? Why wouldn't I, work with the best and be in places and, be at the Oscars and all? Why wouldn't the fuck I would do that? Well, I'm going to do it. And nobody's going to stop me. Just remember the 2 words, says who?
Says who?
Says, and yes or no is a full enough answer. I used to be like this.
I love this, man.
Andy, hey, Rob, do you want to come in? No, I can't make it. And the reason I can't make it is my auntie's uncle's dog. Like, hey, stop. Yeah. No, I can't make it. And that's it. Yes, I can make it. And thank you is the hardest word for human beings who suffer from addiction or depression is to say. Hey, nice shit. I kind of just threw it on, I mean, I've had it yet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hardest words.
Yeah. Rob, I am so grateful for this conversation. I could chat to you for bloody hours, but I just want to ask you one question because I think there's going to be a lot of people out here that will go, oh yeah, I resonate with this, but like that first step of being like, you talked about something right at the very, very start, and it was that kind of people you were saying, you only work with people who like accept they're ready to work with you, right? And they're ready to make a change. But like, how would you like approach it then? Because I know there'll be a lot of people out there that will go, oh, I'm not an alcoholic, or I'm not a drug user, or I don't think I've got a problem. But then they're like, oh, actually, it is affecting my life. But like, what would you say for them would be the next step, with like a very first step with kind of getting some support?
First step, guys, I tell people, is start dialogue with somebody you trust. If you have to ask a friend or anything, do you think I have a drink problem? You have a drink problem. Or drugs or depression. Depression kills, man. You see, depression doesn't look like this. Depression looks like this. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? We're going out today. That's how depression looks. So start dialogue with somebody. Come find us on social media. So because of my mom and dad and everything they went through, we have 3 girls, one's my wife, in a nice office down the corridor, and they take messages on WhatsApp or Facebook of parents or loved ones, and it's all free advice. You can call them 10 times a day, or you can message them. They'll always be there with advice. We're never going to sell you anything. Thank you. We've got enough patience and all that stuff, but we're there to give free advice for 9 hours a day. So go find us, guys. Robb Kelly, if you're listening, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY. Jump on there. You'll see our breath box. You'll see all the stuff. And then you'll see a thing saying call or message. Message one of the girls and say, hey, I'm not, and this is what's going on. And they'll speak to you, especially loved ones. Parents don't know what's going on. Loved ones don't know what's going on. They come across dad who's drunk every day, lost his job, is depressed, He's like, there's a reason for that, guys. It's not that he's just being lazy and he's pissed off with life. There's a reason for that. And we'll explain the reason.
Yeah, I love that, Rob. Rob, thank you so much. I'm going to put all your details and stuff in the show notes below. Yeah, I'm so super grateful. Thank you so much for everything you shared with us. Yeah, cool, man. I mean, I just honestly, it was one of those conversations where I was like, I want to go, tell me more about Van Halen.
Yeah.
Nice one. Cheers, dude.
And that wraps up today's episode of the Coffee, Chaos and Confidence podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps other listeners find the show. Also, go and check out the show notes to learn more about my incredible guests. Until next time, make sure you chase your dreams without limitations.